Okay, so I just felt inspiration. Um, so I've been really focusing on frequencies and about how this world is changing, and there's a lot of things that I sort of push out, and I talk about this in other videos, but like say plastics or I don't know, styrofoam or pavement. I mean, anything that is man-made. You know, we tend to sort of repel because we feel, you know, a lot of us feel like we need to go back to our roots, like, you know, plants and animals and trees and, you know, everything like that, everything that grows from the ground. And that's good because we're going back to our roots. But something I didn't really realize, and I talked about it in my other videos, about honing into every frequency, because those are just remodeled versions of previous. So you really got to respect all of it, because it really is the same thing. We're just looking at it with different eyes. Maybe we just can't pick up the frequencies as to what it looks like. So I was telling Spirit about that, and they were like, okay, so so I was thinking about the atomic bomb, because that seems to keep playing around in my head. So I was asking them about that, and they said, well, what do you think? And I said, well, when the atomic bomb goes off, you know, we have all atoms inside of us. So it's like when that went off, they resonated at a certain frequency. So then I think of our own atoms, our own cells, you know, starting to fizz around to that vibration. And it's nuclear power. So it kind of makes me think about what the atomic bomb is made out of. And there were two of them, and one of them was plutonium, and the other one was uranium, I think. I think those were the two. And it's like, those are two elements that perhaps we didn't have inside of our own bodies. So maybe the fact that that certain element exploded and it infused the atoms of that atomic bomb, those resonate now with that frequency that maybe normally we don't have in our bodies. And so when that starts vibrating at that, that means that ours will start vibrating at that. So it's like with the Fukushima thing and all that radioactive material. I mean, I don't think any of that. I think this is all sort of preparation for another atmosphere or another like change into something different. And it's like all the things that ever happened in history were really just preparing us for new movements into another possibility in the future. And it makes it a lot easier if we have enough natural occurrences like vaccines where not like, I mean, it can be either way, but I mean, these are sort of natural things that just kind of happen. I mean, whether somebody chose to do it or whatever, I mean, it all happened for a reason. And the reason for the season, because there's gonna be a change. I mean, we can all tell something's, you know, clearly changing into something different. So it's like maybe those things have been happening in history because it's simply moving us into something else. And somehow we know subconsciously, intuitively, or through the spirit realm that we need to prepare, so that it's not like all crazy scared and like a rash decision that happens, and it just makes the whole process go smoother, because it really is just a continuum. So I was reading this passage, like there's so many things that lead me up to this one moment, and I can't even describe it all, but it's really quite wild. So I always tend to follow it because I always find a gem in here. So I'm reading, it's Acts 4:18. I don't even know how to, okay, well, it's it's 5. It's Acts 4:18, but then it's like the number 5. I don't know how they actually write that down so you understand, but it's called Ananias and Sapphira, and that means something to me because I have that Anubis right here, so it's like Ananias, or Anubis. I tend to make correlations with a lot of this in here, and even though it's not exactly the same, it's like the same story throughout history is always telling the same thing. So I tend to hone in on that because I tend to personally resonate with every single story, like everything I've ever been interested in, everything on my body. Like that movie Memento, you know, where he's like trying to remember himself. Like literally, I'm living that right now. So I just want to share. So we got the Anubis, and then it says and Sapphira. Now, my birthstone is September. That's a sapphire. So when I saw blue and Ananias, like blue Anubis, I was like, what? I didn't even think that when I got this tattoo. I just dream a lot about ancient Egypt and ancient burial tombs, and so that's why I got it. But I'm finding out more and more that there is so much more than just this, like all the meaning behind this symbol. So in this short passage, it says, a certain man named Ananias with Sapphira his wife sold a possession. Now, my mom passed away, and my mom seems to be a very, very key element in helping me decipher what's going on here. So when I look at this, the first thing that comes to my head is that Ananias is me, Anubis, because that's what I am resonating with. And Sapphira, now I think there is an actual name like Sephirim or Saphirim. Well, whatever the word is, it reminds me of the Ark of the Covenant. And that's like, you know, the two, I think they're like, it's kind of like the Never-Ending Story, where the kids got to like walk through these two like cats sitting like this and their wings come up around them. But like also in Indiana Jones, they've got the Ark of the Covenant, and it's got, I think it's got those same, but I think they're called Sephirim. So when I saw Sapphira, I was like, what? Check this out. It's like totally the same story. So it says that they both sold a possession. Now the way I look at that, soul is like to give and receive. It's like kind of the same thing. So it's like they gave a possession. Now when I think of possession, it's kind of like something they owned. So it's something that was theirs, but it was given to someone else. And it says, and kept back part of the price, his wife also being privy to it. So it's kind of like they gave out, and then they kept some of it back. So they only gave out some. Okay, let me just read this whole thing. And kept back part of the price, his wife also being privy to it, and brought a certain part, and laid it at the apostles' feet. So to me, this is what it sounds like. It sounds like those two people, okay, we'll just say me and my mom. It was like, if I liken it to this world, like this current time, it's like my mom and we were both living in the same time frame, right? So it's like we worked off each other's energy. And my mom is the complete polar opposite of me. She's an Aries, I'm a Libra. So we were constantly like, when we got along, golden. But more often than not, it was like constantly button heads, you know? But we also gave each other something because of that tug pull, you know, we fire each other up, you know. It's like the wind and the fire. We fuel each other so it can be productive, but I mean, the same things because they're making changes. So we gave each other in that sense something. The contrast, the powerful teacher of contrast. So then she passes away, right? So now she's in the spirit realm. I'm still in the physical realm. So now when it says that we gave back each other this part, so it's like we gave each other here the same thing, then she got up here, and now we're communicating like this. So now I'm getting more secrets, more of this possession, from, because now her spirit and cell body, how whatever frequency she's at, is now honing in on my ears. And that's like the same thing as digesting, because that frequency still goes into my brain, anything. It goes into my body because it's starting to resonate. It has resonated, and it fills my heart up and makes me so emotional because I'm so connected to her. So now I have that, okay? So now we both are sharing the same elements. So then it says, brought, okay, his wife also being privy to it, and brought a certain part and laid it at the apostles' feet. So now it's like we both our energies here on this plane of existence, that ended up intermingling with everybody. So it's like now that she's up here, now what I'm learning is like a direct connection, and now it's going out to all the other spirit realms. And whatever she's giving me is now spreading her realm on this realm. And I've been feeling a lot like it's like this. It's like bringing them together, okay? I feel like there's a reason why it's called medium, and why there's a median or a meridian. And it's like the go-between. It's the one that, it's the centrifugal and the centripetal force. But there's like that one integral part that's got to keep it moving, like the core of the earth, okay? And it keeps it all together. And it feels like it just gets stronger and stronger because it's so intense, because you got these two polar opposites. But it's just so strong. The love is so strong that it's pulling two worlds together. And the next one says, but Peter said, Ananias, why hath Satan, and the way I look at Satan, I also can spell that as Santa. So I don't know how these words got mixed around, but to me it's kind of like Satan is another word for saying like, okay, we got like dark and light. So this is like the mysterious, uncomfortable side, right? So it says, Satan filled thine heart. So it's almost like they're saying, so Peter's the guy, I'm sorry, I'm totally all over. So Peter is the guy that, at least from what I remember, and it's like, I keep being told by Spirit that whatever I resonate personally with, there's a reason why I remember that. And whatever is in this book, you didn't need to read it, you just somehow know. Because everything else has been syncing up with just the current knowledge that I have. So, Peter's the eyesight guy. He's the seeing is believing guy. At least that's what I can remember from it. And I know that eyesight is a real big one for me. Like, that's definitely a gift I've had since I was as young as I can remember. So, and it just gets more intense every day. So it says, but Peter said, Ananias, why hath Satan filled thine heart to lie to the Holy Ghost, and to keep back part of the price of the land? Okay, so what I'm taking from this is like, it's kind of like, my mom tells me, well, the spirit realm in general tells me so much. There's only so much that will make sense to other people, because it's really difficult to integrate the left and the right side. You know, you got to make practical use of knowing. It's like knowing the answer to a question, but it is about the journey, how you got there, you know what I mean? So it's like, even though the way I get there, I understand just by other people's reactions in my current moment, that it doesn't follow very well, because I just have a certain way of doing it. So I realize that I have to sort of chill out for a while and figure out a way that is a common medium, a constant medium that can, you know, filter the way I do it and make sense of it in this reality. So it's like, I take that in, I let it go through me, and then I think, okay, I got it, now how am I going to send it out there? So it's like I keep it, because that new element, that new frequency came through my body. I can even feel it go through my cells, everything. So it's like it leaves a part of me there. So it's like that frequency moves, but then another frequency, you know, like another frequency kind of comes out. And it's like, even though I kept some of it, I'm also giving it out back. So that's why he had to, you know, keep back part of the price of the land. Because you can't really just give it all out at once. Because I know that when I try to go further than I should, like too big for my britches, I tend to freak myself out. Because it's like so much at once that I can't even understand what's going on. I'm like blinded. So, you know, you gotta sort of like hold back just a little. Because even though you gotta make sure everyone else catches up too. It's not a race, it's not a contest. Okay. It says, whiles it remained, was it not thine own? And after it was sold, was it not in thine own power? Why hast thou conceived this thing in thine heart? Thou hast not lied unto men, but unto God. I feel like there's a couple ways that I can look at that. And one of them is like lied as if lied like told a lie. But at the same time, I see that as like lied. So you laid down, sort of. It's like you hold back a bit. You know, you hold back a bit, but you're not lying. Because you only know you're never given more than you think you can, you're never given more than you can handle. Because everybody knows when they're just like, alright, I've had enough. Like, that's too much. I'm freaking out. Or I don't like that. Or like you're playing with your friend and you start punching each other and then it gets real. And then you're like, whoa, man, I was just kidding. I'm sorry. No big deal. It's like everyone knows that moment of being up to here. So, it's like, also I can look at it like cells. So it's like it always resides within your cell, but you just can't keep like pushing all of this serum in there, all of this new frequency, and it's like it's gotta like, you know, give it a minute and let it, you know, get back to normal. It's like hot and cold water, and then you gotta give it time to mesh together, you know, because then it can move smoothly through. And then it says, and Ananias, hearing these words, fell down and gave up the ghost. So it's like, that actually perfectly describes what I just said. So it's like you got the cell, it comes on in through the cell body, it resonates in the center, and it like kind of goes out so that it can, you know, resonate and then like calm down. So then it's like, then he fell down. So Ananias or Anubis or whatever, he just kind of like fell down, like calmed down. And then he gave up the ghost. So now you've got this little, you know, like a vapor mist, like a airplane or something like that. You know, we all expel. You know, we got volcanoes on the earth, they expel gas. Humans expel gas. You either burp or the other end. I mean, we all have this going through. So the same thing operates in us as well. And it's like you bringing it in, takes it in, maybe freaks out a little bit if it's kind of hard to handle, but it calms down. You know, we're all really resilient. You gotta realize that your cells are too. But you gotta give them time to just sort of let it sit, let it stew for a minute. And then you give up the ghost, the vapor, and then it says, and great fear came on all them that heard these things. So to me that says, okay, they've been talking to me a lot about fear and about love. And it's like this excitement, right? It's like this, oh, it's like painful that I don't have her here with me. But it's also exciting to know that she is there. And I know intuitively there is a way to make these two worlds come together. So I lost myself in that. Okay. And it says, and great fear came on all them that heard these things. Okay, so it's like you got one cell in your body. That little frequency comes into one cell. It all starts somewhere, right? And it really just feels like it's your solar plexus heart area. So it's like that goes, I can feel it, you know, when you get super excited about something, that sort of ignites. And this is like kind of just a slower process to understand it. It's like humans, you know. So this expels once it's, you know, resonated in that frequency. And then it says fear came on all them that heard it. So now your whole body, and this is a very fast process because you can hear it. But to them, it probably feels the same way as like all of us waking up. It seems a little bit slower. So once one is ignited, then the others ignite and seep out their vapor, you know, their new solution, their new serum, their new plasma, or plasma. I mean, whatever it is, that's the new waking up of a new frequency within your own cell so that you can awake to the whole frequency, which is why it probably has Peter in there, because every time I take in a new frequency and I can feel it, I literally can see more that night, that evening. So, yeah, so it says fear, but it's like a piercing because it's a little intense at first. But when you let it settle, you learn to really love it. Okay. And then it says, and the young men arose. Okay, so they freak out at first, and they calm down, and then they get back up. So the young men arose. So it's like the new cell frequency, you know, gets back on its feet, gets back up. It says, and the young men arose, wound him up. To me, that sounds like wound him up. It sounds to me like, I want to say cell division, but I don't know if that's true. I didn't think of that till now. I didn't put that together. But perhaps. Anyways, we'll just go with the expelling the new potion, right? So the new potion gets up, it wakes up, arose. It gets like, you know, wounded up like a wounded soldier. You wrap them up and send them on their way. And then it says, and carried him out. So it's like talking, sweating, moving, listening. Well, yeah, I guess that's the same thing. I mean, it's something going in and out. Or releasing gas. I mean, really, it's anything. Everything is all the same. And that's how it makes its way through. So it carries him out. And then it says, and buried him. Now, at first I was like, But then I thought, buried him. What do we do with atoms? We bury them. Where did they go? They go to the earth. Okay. So, to me, what I've been learning now, and the way I'm integrating this, is that you take in the new stuff. Instead of fighting it, we just take it in and don't freak out, because we are amazing. And our cells just want to get back into the new frequencies because things are changing, and we need to start accepting these changes so that it won't be so weird anymore. So that comes in, and then it goes out, and then these little atoms get buried in somebody else. So not only am I taking my mom's frequency and every other spirit in this realm, I'm taking it in, and then I'm letting it go through my body so that all these cells, I mean, maybe they do replicate. Honestly, I'm not even sure. So all of these guys get in tune, and that's a lot. And then whenever I talk or I'm running around because I'm active, I'm super active, it's like literally all these cells are going out, all these new frequencies go out, and they just start moving around, and they're now being buried in other people, so that now they're tuning up to another frequency. And we all do this. We all have different experiences in different environments. So the more we explore, the more we just sort of understand that all of this needs to be integrated. You know, the old and the new. There's no reason to get rid of one or the other, because they're just different arrangements. So even just being outside, touch everything. There's nothing wrong with any of it. The more we accept these things and not repel them, the easier it's going to be to move into different frequencies. Even if they seem super foreign and unnatural, it's totally natural, because things are moving into something different, and it's going to be awesome. Because every time I do something different and try something new, I'm always granted something different that my body simply did not do before. So, you know, I'm going off my own experience as to like how this is working through me, and I want to inspire others to know that everyone can do this. And the more other people just, you know, explore around, the more frequencies are going to be moving around, and you know, the more in tune we're all going to start becoming with all these new changes. And we're doing it without even thinking anyway. But I think that mind plays a big part in it. You know, you have to make sure that your mind is understanding what's going on as well, because it's all in how you think about it. Because you can feel and you know intuitively that this is all connected, but it's like taking your everyday life and practically applying it so that your brain can say, okay, that makes sense. I mean, the only reason why I can make sense out of what I am reading in this Bible is because I'm using science, honestly. And I find a lot of science in this book, and a lot of personal history in this book. So yeah, I really feel like exploring our surroundings and feel good knowing that everything that you take in, it's not going to hurt you. It's just something new. And all it's doing is giving yourselves something new to experience. You know, we get bored. We get bored all the time with stuff. You can tell the whole world right now is like, man, I'm fed up with this and I'm fed up with that. And it's like, okay, well, you're right. It's kind of humdrum boring a little. So let's shake it up a bit. Let's explore. Let's try new things. So that's about all I have. I felt a little tripped up with this one just because I'm reading from this. But yeah, I hope this resonates with you guys, because this feels really powerful, because I'm experiencing new senses. Well, I mean, it's like the senses I already had, but they're super amplified, and it's like wonderful, because I find that by listening, by being super aware of my surroundings, I can literally ask a question out loud and my own environment will answer me. A car will go by, or a train will go by, or a plane, or something will happen where it breaks it up a bit, and I'm like, what? It's like I literally get an answer. It just sounds like a different frequency, but it's really an answer. And I think that's really cool. So yeah, you know, have fun with it, play with it. I mean, they really want to just be heard. All these other frequencies, you know, these spirits, we're all in the same place. They just miss you, and they want to talk to you. I can hear it all the time. So, I mean, we could not, but it just makes the road a little bit easier if we just talk it out. Okay, thank you for watching.